Hello, class. It is Bible class time, and today is Friday, April 17th, 2020. It's Friday. Yay. Okay, today we're going to be talking about Job. Job is patient. We're starting with lesson 21.1, and we're going to actually do page 81 together. So let's go ahead and talk about Job is patient. And the focus of this lesson is patience defined. So we want to talk about patience. We learned the definition of patience in our last lesson. Patience just means waiting without complaining. We just wait patiently. So, the definition of diligence. What does diligence mean? We talked about that a little while back, what diligence means. And when we are diligent, we do things purposely. We think about what we're going to do and we actually do it, whether it is something that we're going to do or we're not going to do. We want to be diligent in doing it. So the other word that we need to define is humility. We talked about humility. It's been a long time ago, but we exercise humility all the time. And I always emphasize that in our class. That means that we think more of others than ourselves. So we kind of put others first. Okay, so we're going to discuss ways that these traits were seen in the lives of Abraham and Moses. Let's go way back and talk about Abraham and Moses. We really enjoyed those. We had a good time discussing Abraham and Moses. So, Abraham showed humility by patiently waiting for God to fulfill his promise to give Abraham and Sarah a son. And Moses patiently trusted God while he persevered for 40 years in the wilderness and humbly led the Israelites. The person in today's Bible truth showed all three traits. Job was a good man who loved God. Sometimes bad things happen to good people and they don't understand why. It is not because God does not love people or because he causes bad things to happen. The choices people make in those situations help build their trust and faith in God or tear it down. So Job's wife wanted him to say hateful words to God. She chose to be angry with God. Job did not. Job did not understand why he was suffering, but he patiently endured and had confidence that God would not leave him. In the end, God restored Job's health, rewarded him with a double portion of his possessions, and gave him more sons and daughters. Patience is a quality God has in abundance. He is extremely patient with his children. He's extremely patient with us. And that should inspire us to be patient with others. I want to remind you to turn to God and ask him for help in being patient. There are a variety of situations that require patience. We need to exercise patience in every situation that we find ourselves in. There are some real life situations that require patience. I'm sure you can think of some of those. So take time to pray and ask God to help you become more patient. So let's think about some role play situations that require patience. All right. Listen to this one. You are the last person in line, waiting for a drink of water on a very hot day. What could you do to help yourself wait patiently? You could count to a certain number slowly, pray for each person in line ahead of you, or you could think of something nice about each person in line. That's probably what I would do. Now, here's another real life situation. You're at a carnival and want to get on a busy and popular ride. How could you wait patiently for your turn? You could do something else until the line is shorter, or you could stand in line without complaining. And another situation, real life situation, your parents have promised to take you swimming after they finish the yard work. How can you wait patiently until it is time to go? You could probably help do some of the yard work. And don't pester them about the time. Don't keep saying, "Oh, Mom, it's time to go swimming, Dad. You said you were taking me swimming." Just be patient. And another situation, you have to wear a cast on your broken arm for 6 weeks. How can you be patient until it is time for the doctor to take off the cast? A possible answer would be to follow all the doctor's instructions so the arm will heal, and don't complain about the length of time, because some things just take time and we have to be patient. Okay? So let's have a little review about what you just learned. What bad situations happened to Job? He lost all his children, servants, his crops, and his animals. How did Job show patience? He patiently trusted God even when his wife and friends told him to blame God for the bad things that happened to him. So how did Job show diligence? He did not give up. So how did Job show humility? He knew he could not completely understand his suffering. Only God is all-knowing and all-powerful. So what happened as a result of Job's patience? God healed Job's sores. He had sores all over his body. So God healed his sores, allowed him to have 10 more children, and gave him back double the possessions he had lost. Gave him back double the things that he had. Okay? In what situations is it hard for you to show patience? Well, maybe when someone is unfair to you, or when you're tired or hungry or bored, or when you're in a hurry. So how do you think you would have reacted to the kind of suffering Job experienced? Think about that. He was sick for a long, long time. So it is uncertain who wrote the book of Job and when. Some scholars claimed it is the oldest book in the Bible, while others maintain that it must have been written in the days of King Solomon. Although the date and authorships are unknown, the story vividly portrays a centuries-old question that asks why a person who fears God and shuns evil experiences suffering. The narrative begins with a heavy debate between God and Satan, which God is unaware of, and shows Satan as the mastermind behind Job's suffering. The book of Job explains that God is mighty in power, wisdom, and knowledge. Job accepted that he could not fathom God, and he never blamed God for his suffering. In the end, God rewarded him by restoring a double portion of the possessions that Satan had taken from him. God also gave Job more sons and daughters. Okay, so now let's go to page 81 and let's do that page together quickly. Number 1 asks, number the events in the order they happen. Okay, let's take a look at this. Job's friends told Job Job's friends told Job he must have done something wrong. Everyone thought Job was the best man in the land. God gave Job back double what he had lost. Satan destroyed all of Job's children, servants, and animals, and he gave Job painful sores. Job did not sin by saying anything against God the whole time. He patiently endured all he suffered. Job's wife told him to say hateful words to God. Satan said that Job was only faithful to God because God was good to Job and had blessed him. Okay, so let's number those. The first thing that happened is everyone thought Job was the best man in the land. Number 1. Number 2, Satan said that Job was only faithful to God because Job was good to God and had blessed him. Number 3, Satan destroyed all of Satan destroyed all of Job's children, servants, and animals, and he gave Job painful sores. That's number 3. Number 4, Job's wife told him to say hateful words to God. Number 5, Job's friends told Job he must have done something wrong. Number 6, Job did not sin by saying anything against God the whole time. He patiently endured all he suffered. And the last one, number 7, God gave Job back double what he had lost. Isn't that awesome? After you suffer, you get more than you had in the beginning. You get a double portion. That's awesome. That's an awesome God that we serve, and he always gives us more. So, number 2 says match each character trait with an example of that trait. Patience, diligence, humility. Let's start with patience. Which one would it be? Admitting that others in your class are better at spelling than you are? Rewriting your prayer for the 3rd time so that it is correct? Or standing in line without getting upset or saying anything rude? I think that would be the best definition of patience, of a character trait of patience. Diligence. I think it would be rewriting your paper for the 3rd time so that it is correct, just as we do in our writing class, in our penmanship class, and English class. We write it more than one time, and we have to proofread. And then when we get the last time we write it, we're writing it for our publishing part. So let's go to humility. Humility. Admitting that others in your class are better at spelling than you are. So we know that humility means you're thinking more of others than yourself. So that is a conclusion of our Bible class. I hope you enjoyed it. And be sure and take a look at the chapel that Mr. Toomey did. Mr. Toomey did the chapel for this week. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the Zoom classroom.